My name is Shannon and I am an unveiled lioness. As most testimonies start, I was raised in a typical Christian homeschool family. I had 3 younger brothers, and we went to church as often as possible. Unfortunately, I felt like I could never fit in any circle, my friends either being much younger or much older than me. I remember asking questions in my head and too afraid to ask the church people for fear that I did not agree with what they believed or what the Bible said. I remember feeling like there was something missing, that one wrong word would pull the string so tightly that it would snap. I didn't feel peace. I felt like I was in a parade where my value and everyone's around me was judged by what we did and what we say to be a good Christian. That was the life goal, to never talk on the forbidden subjects, do the wrong things, or hang out with the wrong people. It was all just a show, who dressed best on Easter Sunday or joined the Christmas choir. The comparison game was real and I hated it. I was exhausted for fulfilling all the expectations. I thought that was my purpose, to be good. If I could tell you my favorite memory as a child, it would be waking up in the early morning, walking down the creaking old wooden stairs and into my grandparents' lap as they sat and read their Bible and prayed. It was there that I experienced something that I hadn't experienced anywhere else before, a relationship with Jesus. I remember sitting against a tree trunk watching my horses graze and just weeping, asking God, can you give me one friend that won't judge me, that I don't have to do things for to fit in? And he told me, I will be your friend. This began our sweet sacred moments. The barn was a place where we sang together, we dreamed together. He placed his hands around my soft, vulnerable heart, never to be removed. He gave me eyes to see and to hear and discern, and starting to see all of the lies that I was brought up in. It wasn't my parents' fault, they were also brought in it as well, but I knew that there was something more. There's a freedom and I wanted it. Why was I not allowed to speak about things like passion, emotion, vulnerability, sex? I didn't know why. It was something they didn't understand completely. Maybe because they couldn't understand it completely, they would not talk about it, or they would shun it altogether and anyone involved. The shame soaked the rooms. No grace, just judgment. I wept for these people, and I wanted more. Abba blessed me with a friend, a sister. She brought me to her church one Wednesday night, and as I walked in, I felt Abba's presence, and I cried with joy. People welcomed me in and were so kind. They worshiped God with their whole hearts, and I was overflowing with joy. They spoke truth passionately with their whole heart, and it gave a freshness to the letter. This is what I was missing, the Holy Spirit partnering with people to bring kingdom from heaven to earth. An affair shook my family when I was 17 and led to an uprooting, this time an RV trip around the country. I had to give up my horses, my safe place, and dreams that were connected with them. I was spiraling, victim to the circumstances around me, but through it, Abba showed me that he was my home, and he protected me from doing anything more than binge eating, something that was a safe place for me, something that I put all my emotion in. I was at a point where I felt I was not desirable to men, and I wasn't pretty or fit enough to even be desirable for my family or my friends. Abba started telling me who he created me to be, his captivating daughter, beautiful in every way, words I longed to hear. I was enough. Words that tasted like vinegar coming out of my mouth. He gave me a community of women through Beachbody coaching that helped encourage me and teach me how to pursue and love people well. Making it to Alaska, my community grew to include missionaries, people that I never liked growing up because I would just sit and watch them and I would squirm in my seat thinking that the only thing they wanted was money. But God was telling me that I was going to be a missionary. He started bringing men and women in my life that helped heal the wounds of trust issues that I had. He then opened the door for me to do a Bible internship, where it was there that I learned that I had so much more to learn of who I was, who he was, and why he created me. I told my testimony for the first time there, and I talked so long because for once in my life, someone wanted to hear me. The wounds were just starting to open up to be able to heal, and I was even exposed to people that I never would have been exposed to as well, that had come through so much healing and redemption. It was there that God told me that he was creating me to be a lioness. Then he opened a second door for me to do an internship at a different camp, this time with horses. Summer was great, almost too easy. I was just riding the waves, soaking it all in. But then I got to fall and I was just surviving on my own. It was new people and I was craving community, and I broke down at the end of that semester, spilling out all the emotions. During that time, I also applied for the world race, and he had opened the door so quickly for me to be able to do this, and I was looking forward to the community aspect the most. Second semester was so much healthier. I had people around me, and the first best question someone had ever asked me was, "What makes you you?" I probably spent over an hour just talking out things as I was verbally processing what actually made me me. Going on the race, I realized I was exhausted from camp, and I realized with that I no longer could do anything else until this got sorted out. The second best question anyone had asked me was, "How are you doing, really?" The race brought so much sifting in every aspect of the word, sifting from lies, ill motives, masks, but it watered so much truth, identity, relationships, communication, boundaries, pursuance, vulnerability, transparency, trust, freedom, and complete unapologetic surrender. My favorite memory on the race was a day where I had heard that my family was being split even more apart, and I was crying all day long. And I remember moments when my teammates saw me in my sorrow that they came and they just held me. No words, they just held me, and I felt so completely loved in my broken vulnerability. Oof. Coming back 3 months early from the race, I was a wreck. That last day, saying goodbye to 26 people that stuck with me, put up with me, loved me, got annoyed with me through all the ups and downs as I was awakening myself to who I truly was. I wept so much, and they told me that they were proud of me. It took 3 weeks for me to even feel myself again. I was struggling through depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. I still just needed Jesus, and he gave me the community that I chose to press into so I didn't bleed in silence. I reawoke alive to the reality that God has me exactly where he wanted me to be. He brought me through so many trials, sifting out the lies and building up the truth for this very moment. I know my purpose, my passion, my vision is just to love people that are right next to me. To partner with Pneuma, the Holy Spirit, to run after God so fast that nothing can distract me from the calling he has placed in my life. To create a tribe of people that don't want to just survive, but want to thrive. Life is ministry, and ministry is life. It isn't about the rules, the religion, checking boxes, doing good deeds. It's about loving the person right next to you. And that starts with actually believing that you are worthy and that you are loved. And if you don't believe it, how can you tell the person right next to you that Abba loves them when deep down you truly don't believe it? I am worthy to be loved just being me, Abba's child. His glory, his masterpiece. My stretch marks, my non-visible ads, my curves, my unsmooth skin. Emotional brokenness and scars do not define me and do not bring the value that God has placed on me. They are my story. This is me. And I love my story because I am completely loved by the author. The freedom that brings is unimaginable. Abba wants me to keep shouting his wonders, his miracles, his joys from the rooftops, to be his light among the nations, to bring heaven on earth to worship and wonder. But sometimes it looks like just a whisper of saying, "I believe, help my unbelief." The goal in life is not to just say the right things or do the good deeds to make it seem like you are okay, to just suck it up. The goal in life is to do it together with people, to share your struggles, your wounds, partnering with Pneuma, following Jesus, and giving Abba glory. I want you to not just know, but believe in your heart that you were born to be loved, that you were born for intimacy with your Creator first, but then with other people, that you are perfectly and completely loved in your brokenness, and it is welcome here. All he wants is to get to know you. He is pursuing you daily, and all he wants is you to pursue him back. And you have that choice to let him in or not.